Thank you for joining me. I'm glad you're here. I'm genuinely glad you're here. I mean that. And the reason is because someone has just released a game engine that allows you to make games for N64. And I'm glad you're here because I want to share this with you. This looks incredible. Not only from this footage that we see here, not only do we see what looks like a complete package that allows you to create a game in an interface that is modern and resembles engines like Unity, but it looks like the developer of this engine has incorporated some degree of modern rendering techniques such as HDR, bloom. Have a look at the effects here. These are modern rendering techniques that have been implemented into this engine. So the engine is called Pyrite 64. Now, I'm not sure why I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. I normally don't wake up that early, but I just snapped awake, and I don't know why. Turned on my phone, and what came up immediately on YouTube was this video. So I think my game developer senses activated in the same way that Spider-Man can sense danger impending. My game developer senses activated and woke me up, and the very first thing I saw this morning was this. And I just want to share this with you because this is very exciting. So it looks like you will be able to import models directly from Blender. I'm going to try and install this and run it now. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. This is called Pyrite 64. I will link to this announcement video, and I will link to the download as well. This comes from HailToDodongo. If you've ever wanted to make your own N64 game, now is your chance. You will be able to do it now. This looks like it includes everything you need to not just create your game, but to build the ROM. I have a flash cartridge for the N64, and so I'm very interested in creating games for the N64 because I would like to run those games on actual hardware. And surely you understand the appeal of running your own games on physical hardware. So I will run this. You download and unzip the archive. I'm just going to run this. This looks like it has a fully guided installation process. I've tried making N64 homebrew in the past just as a test, and I was able to succeed, but it took a fair bit of finagling, which is that's a technical term. So let's see, it wants me to download something first. So first we'll have to download this. I will edit this video and skip past any boring stuff, but it looks like it will guide you through the process. So first, I must download MSys2. Okay, MSys2 has been installed, so now we will proceed to the next step. This installer is guiding us through it. We'll click the install button here, and it looks like it will install LibDragon. That does implement something, so I have used LibDragon before, but it looks like this takes that to the next step further, and it has the interface that allows you to work in an environment that's much easier to understand. It's much easier to learn. So this guided step looks to be very easy. And in the past, installation processes were not necessarily that easy. So after running that installer, it looks like the last 3 green little tick marks have been ticked. It says if you want to update, you can update at any point, but it looks like I don't need to because it's just installed. We hit the back button, and it looks like we can now use Pyrite 64. You can either create project, but I'm going to see if there are any. Yes, it looks like there are examples included in the SDK, and the SDK is what you've downloaded to install the game. Let's go ahead and just open Jam 25 here. It looks like there are 3 examples included in the SDK. That stands for Software Development Kit. So let's go ahead and open Jam 25, and we'll take a look at the interface. So this is created by Max, HailToDodongo. Thank you, Max. The homebrew scene for the N64 this is a whole new era for N64 homebrew. We're going to see a lot of N64 games now, and I hope that this scene grows. I'm very much looking forward to this. So the way that you control the camera is not the Maya or Unity way by default. You use the right click to rotate. Left click is for selecting gizmos. If I click on this, you can move objects around the scene thusly. I'll hold Control and click. I'll hold Alt and click. Shift. Okay, but it looks like we have different tools here. Let's see. If I click this. Right. So these are the gizmos for controlling the objects. If I select an object and use that, that's rotate. Okay, that looks like that might be our skybox. Now, I am using a trackball, and I believe that you will need a mouse with a middle click. Generally, the middle click allows you to navigate the scene. Right now, I'm having a tough time navigating the scene. In Unity, you can use the arrow keys to walk through the scene to navigate it easily. I'm having a difficult time. Also, in Unity, you can press the F key and you can center your perspective so that it moves the viewing camera. So because I don't have a typical mouse, I'm using a track, and I'm not trying to say like I'm not like other girls. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say I use a trackball because a typical mouse, I work long hours, I work very hard. I mean, I'm like, you know, the scene from Death Note where Light is doing his homework and he's eating a chip and he's very dramatic and he says, "Now I'll take a chip and eat it." That's the level of intensity with which I work when I do game development. And if you work like that, you're going to damage the joints in your arm, my shoulder, elbow, wrist. And so if I use a typical mouse for game development, I do end up getting an RSI. So that's why I use a trackball. But the problem with this trackball, the Kensington, it's excellent, does not have a middle click. So that makes it difficult to navigate. So I'm not trying to say that this software is not well designed. I'm saying you need a mouse with a middle click in order to navigate it correctly. So I'm going to see if I can just run. I see a nice green arrow here. Let's go ahead and click that. It will load the scene, and we'll see what it's like to run the game. But let's go ahead and have a look at the scene view. Here, this makes sense. If you've ever used any modern game engine with a visual interface, this looks logical. We have our list of objects here. So these are coins. I'm wondering if there is a prefab system in the way that Unity creates a template object, and then you can have multiple instances of that template object, for example, this coin. So let's go ahead and look at this. So we have that on our right. This would be the inspector. In Unity, we would call it the inspector, but it looks like the object data. So we have code here. It looks like you can run code, but that looks like I can't click on anything just there. We have the collision body, which is designated as a sphere. So I cannot modify these. So perhaps this is showing the values of a template object. So how would I be able, let's see, prefab. Prefab. There is a prefab system similar to Unity. So this is the instance. The instance is an occurrence of the template object. And this now, we can now edit the template object. So you can have your script there. So C++ is for coding. My preferred development language is C#. It's really fantastic, but if you can work in C#, you can work in C++. It's not that big of a difference. There are some things you need to keep in mind, some quirks, but it's not that big of a deal, really. We have collision body here. You can adjust the collision to be a box, sphere, or cylinder. Basically, that's really all you need for the most part. Let's see. If we change the size on it, what if I change the size to 15? You can see the collision boundary changing there, 20, 25, 30. This is very logical. This is incredible to have a system like this, to have software that will do this. This is really, really fantastic. Back to the instance. Let's click on asset here, okay? So it looks like that. Let's click. So we have a graph. What if we click on scene? Okay, so we can have a control of our scene here, the frame buffer. Okay, that's probably the resolution of the screen. In general, if you wanted better performance, maybe you can knock that down to RGBA 16. It's just easier on the renderer to render less colors. So you can keep that in mind if you really want to have performance as your priority and have smooth frame rate. We can control our fog here on our layers. It looks like we can add more layers. Z right, that's for your depth buffer for 3D depth. Okay, very interesting. It looks like you can add more and more. You have 2D as well. Looks like you can add more layers. Really fantastic. Okay, what is this here? Right. Okay, this is great. I'm going to try to open another example to see if I can run it, because this one seems to have not built correctly. It says it's done, but I got an error message just there. But so far, this looks very logical, but I want to see where I go to edit my code here. So let's see. Right. Fantastic. Look at this. Have a look at this. We have the player, the model. So we can define the model there. And I would like to see, let's click on files. There we go. All right. Now, if we edit player, you see that we can change the model of the player, but we don't want to do that. I think you can mess something up. You can change it to a sphere if you would like. Right, primary color, environment color. You have the collision, which is a sphere. Okay. This all is very logical. This makes so much sense. You can change the script for the code here. Let's see, add component. Code. Here we go. In Unity, you can drag multiple scripts onto an object, and it looks like you may do so here as well. I'm not sure if it's necessary to do something. You should do that, because if this is collapsed, you should be able to quickly identify the script itself, the code. Okay, so you can select more. That's fantastic. How do we remove this? I right-click, delete. Fantastic. That's very practical. This is logical. This has good discoverability. Not every game engine has good discoverability. I would say Unity's discoverability is quite poor. Something like RPG Maker has very high discoverability. It's easy to learn just by doing and using. Okay, so this is really, really fantastic. A camera, you can use this. I'm assuming you can use the camera here as a template for your projects. Let's see, you can designate how far, how near it renders. Really fantastic. The field of view, which is the viewing angle of the camera. Let's have a look at the viewing angle here. You see that viewing angle, that's triangle here. If we change the field of view, you should see, have a look at this. I don't have a middle click, so this is a little squirrely. You'll see this change here. If I change that to 25, you see that it shortens just there. If I go to 105, you see it's much wider. So that's how you get your viewing angle to change there. Really fantastic. That's great. Wow. I believe that you would be able to use these values to have split screen multiplayer games. For example, vertically, if you went 120, then it would only fill up half of the screen. You can then have a second camera, and then you would offset that by 120, and now you have a second player. You have player 1 on the left, player 2 on the right. Let's go ahead and return those values. Okay, so I got an emulator that works. Project 64 didn't work. I've downloaded Ares. Now, the website for Ares, you have to download the one that matches your CPU. There's ARM64 or AMD. So I downloaded AMD for this particular computer. Otherwise, the other one won't work. So I think I have to map the controls, but it looks like it is working here. I'm just going to map some controls very quickly. So this is interesting. You have dialogue display here. I'd like to look at the script for this so I can see the code and the logic. And this looks fantastic. This looks like it runs just fine. I don't have my N64 console with me at the moment, so I'm not able to run this on hardware. But this is really great. So I hope you guys will download this. Give this a try. Let me know what you think of it. I'll be learning this. I'll be using this and learning it, and hopefully I'll be able to make some episodes and help you learn this as well. As I figured out, we can learn it together. But you know what? Let's go ahead and try and build up the N64 homebrew community around this, because the more people we have working on this, the more growth we'll see from the community, the more we will see from the developer, and the developer will have more reason to keep working on this and improving it, and allowing us to make basically our dream game. You know, this is a dream come true, being able to make your own N64 game like this, especially with all of this 3D as built into the engine. It is a huge deal having all of these collision detection, all the 3D rendering, the fog, and all of that. You know, we even have this sort of the screen door dithering transparency for the fog that we can see there. Really, this is brilliant work. I'm hugely impressed. I will absolutely be making N64 games for the long term, because I'm very excited about this. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at this with me, and I hope you give this a try and let me know what you think of it. Take care of yourselves. Be well.